announcement beginning immediately after this chapel service here in the theater. In the chapel, you're invited to the showing of the Charlie Brown Valentine show. It's 25 minutes long. Bring your lunch. Nice way to celebrate Valentine's Day in the sunny, lovely space of the chapel. Today's chapel is connecting play Germinal, written by Professor Mark Rosenwinkel, and we'll be seeing a scene of that put on by the students. It opens tonight, but it's a very appropriate piece for us as we make our first step now into Lent. Professor Rosenwinkel.
I'd like to start out with a reading from actually the psalm that was read at the beginning of the week, Psalm 137. And I'd like to read actually the last couple of verses that were not read on Monday, I believe. And it goes like this. Remember, O Lord, against the Edomites, the day of Jerusalem's fall, how they said, tear it down, down to its foundations. O daughter of Babylon, you devastator, happy shall they be who pay you back what you have done to us. Happy shall they be who take your little ones and dash them against the rock. I would read that again, the last couple of verses again. And I want you to think of the story that goes underneath this. The story is a vast story. It's a horrific story and a devastating story. But it's one that this text comes out of. Happy shall they be who pay you back what you have done to us. Happy shall they be who take their little ones and dash them against the rocks. How are we as Christians to respond to something like this? Are we to take this as a command for revenge? I hope not, because it would violate every doctrine that I believe, starting with Matthew 5, to love your enemies. How then do we respond to a call of violence? How do we respond to people acting out of circumstances that are driven to extreme? Seemingly good people spinning out of control. The story of Germinal by Emile Zola is really about people driven to extremes. They are French miners in the 19th century, trapped as wage slaves in an economic system which affects everything, including family life, relationships, and physical health. Everything is sacrificed to the economic success of the mining operation. The beast, as the town prophet Ma Brule will tell us. In this scene, we will see what happens when miners who have been on strike for 2 months finally decide to take matters into their own hands and invade the house of Madame and Monsieur Henbo, the mine owner, to present him with their grievances. This morning, unlike our full production, we will perform the scene in rehearsal clothes, but I hopefully you'll be able to figure out which side people are on. I'll also give you a little warning. The language in this play is appropriate to these people, and I hope that you, the language and the actions of this play, you take it in that context. So without further ado, here's a scene from Germinal.
Gee! Do not open that gate! Do you hear me?
We have kept this all-night vigil in order to present to you, once again, in earnest, our demands, in hopes that you will reconsider this madness in which you are engaging all of us.
You fat swine.
Lantier, was it? As you all were informed 2 months ago, I have been and will continue to be willing to discuss all business with the person of our pit manager, Monsieur Negre.
No, we don't
assertions to any untoward behavior on my part, I really do not wish to discuss such matters at this time. But if you were all to come back to work tomorrow...
No! Get out! All of you get out of my house! Look who's boss of the house now, ain't it, bitch?
Sir,
Let Martin speak.
sir, most of us have worked down there as long as we can remember. Since we were children, we have worked for you. And the things I have seen in my own lifetime, sir. I have seen my family, one by one, go down there day in and day out. And it gets harder, sir. Not easier. It gets a little harder each day to go back. And it's still harder to watch the ones you love. Pardon me, sir, but I just don't think that's the way it should be.
Are you through?
Yes, sir.
Then go home. All of you. I will not have you ruin the sanctity of this day.
Leave us alone and go back to work like the rest of them!
The rest of them? Who?
I don't know.
Some of your own men, by their own free will I might add, have been coming to see Monsieur Negrel over the past week.
Who were they?
Scots! Cut their throats! How much is this written back peacefully?
Peace, there is no such war. This is war!
It's Negrel. We starved for months so he can put traitors back to work!
Lord, prepare us to meet our foe.
Comrades, please!
To the mines!
To the mines! Why you go?
So, what are we to learn from that? The action of the play rapidly descends and spins out of control. People turn into creatures of instinct. Certainly we see this in the world today. And how do we respond? We don't agree with what they're doing. We certainly don't condone what they're doing. But if we are to live out Jesus' command to love your enemies, pray for those that persecute you, at some point, at some basic level, we must try to understand, at least. This is not an easy thing to do, to understand, to forgive, to love. To love in the face of violence and evil is perhaps the hardest thing of all. As the American playwright Tony Kushner has his characters say in his landmark play, Angels of America, it isn't easy. It doesn't count if it's easy. It's the hardest thing, forgiveness, which is maybe where love and justice finally meet. Peace, at least. But this is our calling, because this is what Christ did for us. He set the example. He became the sacrifice. A harsh act, a difficult act of suffering, which we traditionally acknowledge in the season of Lent. Lent is a time when we meditate on dark and difficult things. Those of us that received ashes yesterday heard a dark and difficult truth. Ashes to ashes, dust to dust. We go into the desert. We try to comprehend the incomprehensible. But like Jesus' own trial in the wilderness, we survive by looking to him and his love for us and his desire for us to go and do likewise. I pray for all of you such a spiritual journey as we begin this holy season.
You join the prayer our Lord taught us. Our
Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory, forever and ever. Amen.
We thank the Department of Theater and Dance for presenting a very meaningful chapel for us today. on our journey into Lent. I remind you of if you want to go for something completely different right now, you could go to the Charlie Brown cartoon showing in the chapel. Your Germinal opens this evening, runs tonight, tomorrow, and Saturday night, and Sunday afternoon. It should be a very powerful experience for us as a community. So, the Lord bless us and keep us. Lord, make his face shine upon us and be gracious unto us. Lord, let his countenance upon us and give us his peace. In the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Go in peace, serve the Lord.
Thanks be to God.